briefly to set up Eric, because Eric's going to talk about the fun stuff. I mentioned the venture class program, the Airborne Tropical Tropopause experiment, which is one of the 5 Earth Venture 1 solicitation that we had from a few years ago. It's one of the 5 that was selected using the Global Hawk. We heard about the HS3 mission, which was also selected through that same process, which was using the Global Hawk as well, to try to answer science questions. I used to do experiments to try to answer similar science questions. Eric's the lucky one that gets to do the more modern research with answering these science questions, so I'll just leave the real dirty work for what they're trying to do to Eric. So, any questions for me before we let Eric come talk to you about real science? Yep.
Well, so you talked about supporting models.
Yes.
And so would this be collecting data to support models primarily at which center? Ames, Langley?
This is all across the science community, not only in the United States but in the world. And at NASA with our Earth Science, we have a data policy where all of the data that we collect are available for anybody to get. So we have data centers all across the NASA centers, depending on what science question is where the data go. And we have those data so that everybody can use them. And the philosophy behind that is we get our money's worth out of the data. It's not just the people that we pay to do the research. It's everybody who's interested in the data get the research. And we think that's really, really important. It leaves transparency to the science that we're trying to do.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, yeah.
Of the satellites launched into space, how much experimental technology is put on board, and how, if at all, are the components upgradable? Is that why so many are launched into space?
Usually, when we launch a mission into space, they're designed anywhere from 2 to 5 year lifetime. And some of the science that we do in space will launch replacement instruments, and many times we advance the technology. We don't replace an instrument that's up there in the satellite. We don't go and do a repair of a satellite once the mission starts to degrade and get to a point where the science return is not as good. We just launch a new satellite. Most of the technology development that we do are done either with ground-based experiments in the lab, experiments on our NASA aircraft. So a lot of the newer stuff that we do, we work out the bugs and work out what works and what doesn't with our NASA aircraft. That's a common thing that we do. Yeah.
So I didn't see Sophia mentioned up here. How does that relate to the program?
Sophia is one of the important missions for one of my fellow divisions within the NASA Science Mission Directorate. We have 4 divisions in the Science Mission Directorate. There's Earth Science, there's Astrophysics, there's Planetary, and there's Heliophysics. Sophia is designed to do experiments for the Astrophysics division, which they're my friends down the hall. I actually know the people involved with them, but we won't be talking about that here today. Actually, they use a lot of technology that I used to play with as well, so I actually kind of like it.
So science missions, what mission really turns you on? You're really excited about it?
I actually think quite broadly, and I'm involved in a lot. One of the ones that I spend a lot of time with, and actually spent a lot of time with it yesterday because I went down to NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I'm a scientist for the Orbiting Carbon Observatory, which the first one went up and we had a launch failure, and we got agreement from our sponsors in the government to rebuild it, and that's going, and I'm looking forward to getting those data come out. So, and fortunately, that's going very well so far. So for me, that's something I spend a lot of time working. But my main research program that I manage is the Upper Atmosphere Research Program, and there's a lot of key science missions that we do. And right now, the most interesting new science that we're doing in the Upper Atmosphere Research Program are 2 aircraft missions. One is ATTREX that you're going to hear about, and the other one is a big field campaign where we're bringing multiple aircraft that you'll see this afternoon that are down at the Palmdale hangar where we're going to Southeast Asia. And